we go.
All right. Well, welcome everyone. I'm glad you are here. We are very lucky to have Trudi Kayser with us. She's a financial literacy and empowerment advisor. She founded Life Made to Order Financial Phoenix to offer fee-free education first guidance and life insurance to everyone, no matter what your income or background is. She draws on her own journey from financial hardship to abundance. And Trudi is going to be hosting clearly this Sangha Healing Master Mindful session to help practitioners and anyone really, right? Release scarcity thinking and build a financial foundation that supports both their mission here and life. So with that, Trudi, thank you for offering your time and your expertise for this team. Take it away.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you. So hopefully everyone is comfortable, and just so grateful to be here with the Sangha healing community today. Before we get started, I just want to be crystal clear about what today is not. This is not a sales presentation. I'm not here to sell you a product, a policy, or a program. But what I am here to do is start a conversation that most of us never got to have. And that is about our relationship with money. I know I never got to have that. In fact, I was always scared to talk about money. And that relationship really does affect everything, does it not? So, and it affects how we price ourselves. It affects how we set boundaries. It affects whether we feel worthy of being compensated well. And it shapes those things in ways that most people never even notice because nobody sat us down and talked about it. So that's what we're doing today for the next 30 minutes or so. I want this to feel less like a presentation and more like a really honest conversation, if you will. And if something lands for you, drop it in the chat. I don't know if I can see it or not, but something, Kathy can keep me informed how that goes. I am a Google Meet virgin presenter, so bear with me. So if something raises a question, ask it. Post a question in the chat. We're all in this together. So let's get into it. You guys ready? Ready? All right. Let me see. So let's start with two questions. I want to be really honest, and I want you to be really honest with yourself as I ask them. How many of you got into your profession because you wanted to make a difference? Raise your hand or do a thumbs up. Do a thumbs up. Probably all of us, right? I can see most people got into their profession because we wanted to make a difference in people's lives. And that doesn't surprise me. You guys are healers. That's what healers do, right? You were called to do this work. And that's not something you stumble into by accident either. I think if you are a healer, you were probably born to be a healer, and everything that you went through led you to what you're doing now. And so let's just take that in for a second. And now here's the second question. And I mean this genuinely, not as a gotcha, but how many of you got into your profession because you wanted to become wealthy? See any hands? Maybe a thumbs down if that's not what you did. Or if you did get in this profession because you wanted to become wealthy, maybe do a little money, drop a little money thing in the chat. There may be a few of you for that. And the reality is that disconnect, that right there, that gap between those two answers is exactly what we're here to talk about today. So here's the thing, wanting to make a difference and wanting to be compensated well are not in conflict. You may think they are, it may feel like they are, but they are not opposites. For a lot of people in healing and service professions, somewhere along the way, they got placed in opposition to each other somewhere along the way. And it's like charging what you're worth somehow makes you less pure in your purpose, right? And I want to spend this time dismantling that idea, because the truth is the challenge here isn't that you care too much about people. The challenge is that if we don't learn how money works, we eventually limit the very impact that we set out to create. And not because we're bad at our work, but because nobody taught us how money and mission can work together. Make sense? That all makes sense? Thumbs up, thumbs up. It's going to be interactive. Please interact with me because I'm looking over here in my little window over here so I can see you. So let me paint a picture of, and tell me if any of this sounds familiar. I can't raise my prices because clients won't pay. I need to discount to stay competitive. I can't afford to get help. That was one of mine. Kind of still is, if I'm being honest. Kind of still is. I'm going to make this a little smaller over here so I can see. The next one is, I'll figure retirement out later. That's what I kept saying. Did you know that the average person in America, 85% of people in America are 53 years old before they start saving for retirement? So we got that going for us, right? And I just need more clients. Right now, I just need more clients. If any of those hit home, you are not alone. I have heard every single one of these from brilliant, gifted, hardworking practitioners who are so focused on serving their clients that they've put their own financial well-being completely on the back burner. I did that for a long time myself as a money healer, right? And here's what I find fascinating about all of these phrases. None of them are really about money. They're about beliefs, and they're about programming that most of us received before we were even old enough to know what was happening. So what is one money belief that you grew up hearing? Drop it in the chat. If you, and Kathy, if you could read some of those to me, if you see the chat. I don't know if you see the chat, if we are sharing or not. What were some, I will tell you one of mine. Mine was, Trudi, money doesn't grow on trees. Another one was, we can't afford that. Another one was, we're not like those people. Speaking of wealthy people, we're not like those people. Or even just well-off people, right? Let's see. I'm going to stop sharing so I can see some of the.
And if you guys just jump in, if you don't want to chat, if you're comfortable, right?
If you're comfortable.
I mean, for me, I always heard money doesn't grow on trees. That's a fun one, right? I would like, well, where's the money tree? Where is the money? And don't talk about money. We don't talk about money. You don't talk about it with family. You don't talk about it with friends. It's like a taboo subject. Money.
Yeah. Secretive. There was a lot of secrets surrounding money in my family as well. I remember my mom used to say, don't tell your dad that I have this money. And my dad would say, don't tell your mom that we're going here. And it's like, oh my God, I'm just being pulled and pulled and pulled. And then, I realized as I got older that my dad was a gambler and my mother was a drinker. So that's why they didn't want to know all that, right? They didn't, shh, don't tell your dad, shh, don't tell your mom, and it's just get to a place where money is not an issue. Okay. Yeah, that's part of it, right? I help people.
Like always, even today, if we desire something, affordability, so we kind of motivate ourselves to keep a target. Okay, if we achieve this on a personal level, then we will be rewarded with something that we want.
Yeah.
That is what we were given as a child. That is what I'm doing right now. And then encouraging that, if you reach this milestone, you achieve this in your growth, personal growth, then you will be rewarded. So mostly it was that. There was complete transparency on where we stood.
Nice.
Complete expectation setting on what we could afford and what we couldn't, or we'd have to work for it.
Gosh, I wouldn't even know what that would be like.
Yeah. I mean, we saw like our parents didn't have a passport till the age of 70.
Wow.
It's only after I came to Canada that we got the passport for them made and forced them. Their first ever and only life visit before they passed away was Canada.
Wow.
So
Wow.
they spent everything on the education and private education for the three of us. And we always had enough and more to eat. Like food was in abundance all the time because that's a huge soul connect.
Yeah.
Anything that you're feeling can be compensated at least 80% by food.
Yeah.
Good food in abundance, no matter what you want to have.
I feel like that's my mom kind of did that with food too. She showed her love by cooking. It's probably why I love cooking so much, right? Like I kind of feel that. All right. Thank you so much for sharing that. I'm going to go back.
There's one more in the chat.
Oh.
I help people change subconscious beliefs. One of the most common I hear is it's not okay to have more that.
Yes, yes, it's not okay to have more.
Yep.
All right, we are going to continue on here. So I gotta go here. So the good news is beliefs aren't permanent, right, Janet? Beliefs aren't permanent. They can be examined and they can be updated. So let's reframe what money actually is as general. So before we can talk about what to do differently, we really have to start with what money actually is, not what we were taught it is, what it actually is. Money is simply a tool. That's it. It's a resource. It's an amplifier. It is a form of stored energy. You traded your time, your skill, your expertise for it, and now you can exchange it for other things that you need. That's the whole thing. That's it. Money is not inherently good. It's not inherently evil. I was told that rich people are evil. I was told that growing up. It is not spiritual and it is not unspiritual. It is neutral. It's exactly like electricity, right? So electricity can power a hospital or a weapon. The electricity doesn't decide. The person holding it does. So money amplifies whatever you already are. If you are generous, money makes you more generous. If you're community-minded, money gives you more capacity to invest in your community. If you are a healer, money gives you the ability to reach more people, serve them better, and stay in practice longer. Now I want to ask you something. I want you to really sit with it for a second. What would you do for your clients, your family, and your community if financial stress wasn't part of the equation? Drop one word or one sentence in the chat, because that's really what we're working toward. Not greed, not hustle culture, that version of you who can show up fully because your own foundation is solid, and therefore other people feel like showing up fully and having a solid foundation as well. All right. Anybody drop anything in the chat, Kathy?
Nope.
Okay, we'll move on. Easy to pursue inspiration. I love it. Ease. I love that word ease, Luke. That's fantastic. Awesome. I guess my chats do pop up. I love it. All right. I like to talk about the self-worth equation because I had a lot of issues with this myself, and I just assume if I did, everyone else does too. So I want to introduce you to something that I call the self-worth equation, because I think it's at the root of almost every money challenge practitioners face, or even other people, even people in the financial services industry. I can't tell you how many people that I work with that we talk about this all the time, right? I'm going to ask you a question. I want you to be really honest with yourself. You don't have to share it in the chat, but just think about what the answer is. Have you ever given away your time, energy, or expertise because you felt bad charging? Doesn't have to be now, but maybe in the past, maybe when you first started out. I know I did. And I want you to notice something. It wasn't because you didn't need the money, right? It probably wasn't because the work wasn't available either. It was because in that moment, something inside of you said, I don't know if I'm worth that. that subconscious belief. And here's the truth that I see over and over again when I work with people. People rarely earn beyond the level of value that they place on themselves. And we talk about this all the time in our work with people, not because they lack talent, because I'm sure all of you are super great at what you do. And it's not because you lack skill, and it's not because you don't work hard enough, but it's because of your pricing. It's their boundaries. Your business decisions are quietly reflecting what you believe you're worth. And most of you don't even realize it's happening. A lot of people don't even realize it's happening. I know I didn't realize it was happening. I just didn't know. So think about the last time you discounted a service. What was the thought that preceded it? Was it probably something like, I don't want them to think I'm too expensive? Or what if they say no? Or I don't want them to I don't want to seem greedy? Because those are really not pricing decisions. Those are worth decisions. And the beautiful thing about a worth problem, unlike a skills problem or a market problem, is that it's entirely within your control to change, which is super cool.
Yeah, and another chat popped up. It's because I realized people do not want to invest in themselves, and I needed them to experience how it can impact their lives.
There you go. Okay. There you go. So let's talk about the leaky energy bucket. I want to picture a bucket over here on the left. This is the best I could do for drawing a bucket. There you go. Picture a bucket, and that bucket is your capacity, your energy, it's your time, your emotional bandwidth, your financial reserves, everything you have to give. Now, picture that bucket with some holes in it, and the holes have names. One of them is overgiving. One of them is undercharging. One of them is poor boundaries. One of them is resentment, people pleasing. One of them is fear of disappointing, and resentment and burnout. And so if any of these sound familiar, here's what happens. Every time you take a client who doesn't respect your time, that's a hole. And I can count on a couple hands how many clients I've had over the past 13 years that did not respect my time. And it's mainly because when I took those clients on, I wasn't respecting my own time. And every time you discount your rate because you feel guilty, that's a hole. And every time you answer a message at 11 p.m. because you're afraid to set a limit, that's a hole. And every time you say yes when your whole body is saying no, that's a hole. And the water, this is your energy, your joy, your capacity to give, is leaking out through all of them constantly. Which hole do you relate to most? If you want to drop that in the chat, which hole do you relate to most? Maybe some chats will pop up. I know mine was poor boundaries. I literally was answering messages at 11 p.m. at night, 4 a.m. in the morning. Yes, people pleasing. I had a lot of resentment and burnout as well because I was working my butt off. Yes, all of the above. Okay. I get it. I totally get it. Overgiving, undercharging, people pleasing. So now here's what I need you to hear. The issue is not helping people. The issue is not caring deeply about your clients. The issue is helping people while your own bucket is empty. That's the issue. That's the real. You can't give what you don't have. And a financial foundation, a stable income, fair pricing, real boundaries is really what part of that is what keeps your bucket full. And the most generous thing you can do for your clients is to make sure that you are resourced enough to keep showing up for them financially, emotionally, and energetically. Does that make sense? The thumbs up if it makes sense. Awesome. All right. I want to share one of the statements that I think lands the hardest when people really let it in. And it's, you can make more money, but you cannot make more time. I want to test something with you. Would you walk up to a stranger on the street and hand them $100? No questions asked, no expectation of return. How many of you would do that? Yes? Okay. Who else would do it? Now think about this. How often do you give a stranger or someone you barely know a free hour of your time? Free hour of your life, a free session, a free consult, free favor, an unpaid phone call that stretches into 90 minutes. I had one of those yesterday. She said, I just need to talk to you about 10 or 15 minutes. And literally it was 45 minutes later before we got off the phone. An hour of your time has monetary equivalent. It has value. And when we give it away reflexively, out of guilt, out of habit, out of fear, we're making a trade with no return. We're choosing to devalue something that cannot be replaced. That is not generosity. Generosity is intentional. What I'm describing is something else. It's a pattern rooted in discomfort with being compensated for your worth. Time is a great equalizer. We all get the same 24 hours. What separates people who feel abundant from people who feel depleted is largely how intentionally they protect that resource. How many of you have heard of the oxygen mask? You know, you go on an airplane and the girl tells you if the oxygen level drops, you know, take the oxygen and put it on yourself before you put it on your children or whatnot, right? So you've heard this 1,000 times on the airplanes, and nobody argues with it. Nobody says, but I'm a caregiver, I should help my neighbor first, right? We just intuitively understand the logic. You have to be okay in order to help others be okay. And financial help works exactly the same way. And I want you to look at it. Look at what it actually looks like when a practitioner is financially stressed versus when they're financially healthy. When you're financially stressed, you overwork to compensate for undercharging. So you're kind of probably tired. You delay your own self-care. You avoid investing in your business or your professional development because you feel like you can't say no, or because you can't see past this month. I used to say I have too much month at the end of the money, right? Like you take clients who drain you because you feel like you can't say no, and we stay stuck in survivor mode, just trying to get through the week. Now flip it. When you're financially healthy, you can serve your clients with full presence because you're not running a background process of financial anxiety while you're with them. You can stay in practice longer because you're not burning out. You can create a bigger impact because you have the bandwidth to think beyond just getting by. And you can say no to the wrong clients with ease and yes to the right ones because you have freedom. That feels so good. And that second column right there, that's what we're building toward. Not wealth as an end in itself, but financial help as a foundation for the work that you were called to do. All right, we're going to try to shift gears a little bit now because I want to do something a little more interactive with you. I know it's been a little bit interactive, but I want to do something more. So I want you to take something out to write on. Pen and paper, grab your pen and paper, a notebook, sticky note, napkin, I don't care what it is. Just something you can physically write on. Everybody ready? Give me a thumbs up when you're all ready to take notes. One thumbs up.
I think everyone's good.
Okay, and I'm going to ask you 3 questions, and I want you to write your honest first answer, not your calculated answer, not the number you think you should say, but your gut answer. The first one is, what is 1 hour of your service worth? Write down the number that comes to you first, the one that your gut said before your brain could second guess it. Be honest, what number comes up first? Write that down. What is 1 hour of your service worth? Next question is, what transformation do your clients receive? Not what you do like mechanically or whatever, but what changes for them, like in their body, in their mind, their relationships, their quality of life. Write that down. What is that transformation? Give me a thumbs up when you're. I love that quality of life. What is their quality of life after they see you, after they go through your process? Give me a thumbs up when you're done with that. And we got a couple. I'm going to move on to the next question. Question number 3, and this is the one that usually shifts something. What would it cost them if they never solved this problem? Not in dollars necessarily, but in pain, in lost time, in missed experiences, in years of living below where they could be. Write that down. What would it cost them if they never solved this problem? Missed experiences. Oops. Crap, that's not what I wanted to do. And when you're ready, drop 1 word in the chat that describes how you feel after answering question 3. Heavy, grateful, motivated, guilty, clear. How do you feel after answering question 3? Motivated. Good, good. This shift is, and here's what I see every time I do this exercise. People come in pricing based on the time that they spend. And, you know, an hour of my service is worth X. And then they go home pricing based on the value they create, the transformation, the relief, the change in trajectory. And when you price based on time, you always feel like you're either working too hard for too little, or you're charging too much for something that only took an hour. But when you price based on value, based on the transformation, based on what it would cost someone not to solve this, everything changes. Because the cost of inaction is almost always higher than the cost of your service. Isn't it? It's always higher than the cost of your service. Most practitioners based on the time spent, but successful practitioners price based on the value created. So I'm going to say that again. Most practitioners price based on the time spent. And successful practitioners price based on the value that they create. All right. Good job.
That's powerful. That's powerful.
Very powerful. Very powerful. That transformation is what it switches everything over, and also, you know, you can even promote yourself based on that inaction of what would it cost you if you never solve this problem. All right, and this is really the reframe that changes everything. So this might be the most important slide in the whole presentation. I want to show you a reframe that I think can change the way you think about money conversations permanently. Instead of saying, I charge this much because I need the money, which, by the way, we've all said some version of, even just in our heads, right? We can reframe it to, I charge this because of the years of education, experience, training, mistakes, wisdom, and transformation that I bring. Just say that. I mean, honestly, write that down, take a screenshot, take a picture, say it out loud, even if you're alone. Write it on your mirror, right? You have years of education, years of experience, years of training, mistakes, wisdom, and transformation. And especially if you got into this because you had your own transformation, right? That's why I got into what I'm doing. I literally had no clue why I wasn't successful or why I didn't think I was successful. I always thought I was broke all the time. And when I found this company that I was with and they walked me through why that was happening, it changed my life, the whole trajectory of my life. I can't even find the words to express what it meant to me, right? And so it was just amazing. So now notice how different that feels. The first one is kind of apologetic, right? It's asking for permission. The second one is the truth. And there is nothing arrogant about telling the truth. People aren't paying for the hour. They're paying for the outcome. They're paying for the version of themselves that exists on the other side of working with you. That is what you're charging for. I love that reframe.
I love it. Can I share something that
yeah, definitely.
So the account that I have now, when I first started working with him, he said, we are going to add a goodwill line on your whatever balance sheet, whatever, right?
Yeah.
Tell me about this, right? And he said, it is, again, all of your 30 plus years of business consulting, all of the training you have, all right, that is all you, regardless if you're in a different field than you were when you did it. He goes, that's what makes you you. And he's putting a value on it for other reasons, but it made me think of all the things I've done and all the things I've learned and whatever. And it was a good exercise for me to kind of go through that, because we forget the value sometimes. Yep. And the experience we have is priceless. Right. And you're bringing that to your clients. So it was a really great exercise. His intention wasn't the same thing I got out of it. Right. But it brought me to kind of what you're reframing. Right.
I love it. I love it. I love that. I might need your accountant's number.
For sure.
All right. Anybody else? Did that bring up anything for anybody else that you might want to share? Okay, we'll move on. Let's talk about 3 money questions. I want to give you 3 quick question swaps. These are simple, but they do rewire how your brain approaches financial decisions. Instead of asking, can I afford it? Ask, how can I afford it? It's just one little word that in addition, but the first question closes a door and the second one opens a search. When our minds get a question, it has to find the answer. And if it's a positive question, then it will find the answer. So, I don't know what happened. What happened? Oh no. Hold, please. Here we go. Okay. The next one is, what will this cost me? I remember my husband asked this all the time. What will it cost me, right? So instead of asking that, say, what is this costing me if I don't act? What is this costing me if I don't act? We can't really change our clients. We can't really change other people, But when we change our own energy to these positive questions and to this particular mindset, then we start attracting those same type of clients. Does that make sense? So how, instead of asking, how do I get more clients? Say, how do I create more value? How do I create more value?
That question right there leads to free services devaluing for me.
Oh, yeah, yeah. Well, that's interesting. I was going to say more clients at a rate that doesn't honor your worth just means more exhaustion. So creating more value means your existing clients want more from you and send their people to you. So it's less work getting more. Which one? So if you could pick one of these questions, which one lands the best for you? So pick one of these questions and try it this week. How can I afford it? What is this costing me if I don't act? And how do I create more value? I think that the question of how to create more value is really, and I'll give you a prime example. I have a client, she does myotherapy. She can only take on so many clients a day. And this is also the same type of situation for massage therapists, estheticians, that sort of, you can only take on so many clients in a day before you just burn out. And so when I first started seeing her, she was charging not what she was worth by any means, because when I went to see her, she solved my problem within 2 visits. And I was just like, oh my gosh, how come nobody knows about this? Oh my gosh. So she ended up, she just started out her business at that point. And so she didn't really feel good about charging because she didn't feel like she was worth charging, even though she was solving problems the same way she is now. But now she's gotten to a point, this is like 7 years later, she's gotten to a point where she has raised her prices she's created more value by adding a couple of other things in there. And in her mind, she has got more experience under her belt. And so she feels more comfortable charging much more than what she was charging in the beginning. And so she doesn't have to take on as many clients and she doesn't have to work as hard. And she earns the type of money that she wants to earn, needs to earn. And she gets a lot of her clients from current clients now because they refer her all of the time. So she doesn't have to spend money on ads or marketing or anything like that because it is basically just grown into that. So once again, the beginning. Kathy, can you read what Judy put in there about the reframing the question?
Yeah, for me, I would change the third reframe to how do I communicate more value?
Oh, that's good. I like that. I like that.
Yeah.
Communicate more value. I'm going to put that in my notes.
And that to me resonates by saying that if you give me, say, X number of referrals, I offer you a free session.
Yeah.
In exchange for that, something like that. That is communicating value to me.
Okay. That's okay. That's okay. Great job.
Instead of, just offering a free session up front and saying, I'll give you a free and then you can refer clients to me. That is more like begging or pleading, like
exactly.
devaluing myself. Yeah.
Valuing yourself. Yeah. Yeah. Or maybe even 50% off. Not
yeah.
free. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Yeah. So here's the breakthrough moment. We're almost done here. So this is probably my favorite part of this whole conversation. I want you to sit with this question for just a minute, and I mean really sit with it. If I truly believed I was worthy of being well compensated for the value I provide, what would I stop doing immediately? Would I stop discounting my services? Would I stop working for free? Would I stop taking difficult clients? Seriously, that is my top number one thing right there. Taking difficult clients. I would stop taking difficult clients because I got into this not to deal with people that I didn't want to deal with, right? I'm not for everyone, and everyone's not for me. Answering messages at midnight, avoiding money conversations. Now flip it. What would you stop doing immediately if you truly believed that you were worthy of being well compensated for the value that you provide? You don't have to share, but you can if you want.
Yeah, I would stop selling myself short.
Perfect. Okay, good. That's good. That's good. Anybody else? You can flip it now. Same question, opposite direction. If you truly believed that I was worthy of being well compensated for the value I provide, what would you start doing? Setting clear boundaries. Mine is saying no with confidence. And here's someone that can help you. I do grow relationships with other people who do what I do, because there are people that come along that just my gut doesn't like. We don't mesh. And so, but I want them to still get help, right? And so just being able to say no with confidence. Investing in my own growth. I love that one. That's one that I also do. What would you start doing?
So Luke added would drive less. And that's, I think, under I would stop. So are you talking about driving, like physically driving, Luke?
Yes. Okay. So maybe figure out how you can have your clients come to you, maybe, or that's kind of hard if you are a mobile. I don't know what you do, Luke, but if you're a mobile person, then that's or I don't know. I know that was probably mine when I first moved here, more in-town gigs. Okay. Set up shop and have clients come to you. Good. These are all great answers, guys. Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Charge what you're worth, setting clear boundaries, saying no with confidence. And just also think about those things that you put in the chat. Think about how you would feel if that were to be happening right now. Like imagine, oh my gosh, I get to get up in the morning and I get to go to my shop and I have 5 people coming in to visit me. What does that feel like, right? That's your visualization, right? That right there, those start answers, that's where the breakthrough happens. And not in the information, but in the permission. You just gave yourselves permission. Just gave yourself permission. Congratulations. That's where that breakthrough happens. All right. Here is 3 commitments before you leave today. Before we close, I want us to make 3 commitments together. Not goals, not wishes, but commitments. These are things you actually will do. First, choose one money belief to release. Write it down. Like, I have to struggle to be successful, or wanting money makes me greedy, or I can't charge people who are struggling. Whatever it is for you, write it down. Name it. That is the first step to releasing it. First step. Second one, adopt a new belief. Something that replaces what you just wrote. So if you have to struggle to be successful, then being well compensated allows me to help more people, which in turn makes you more successful. Or my healing work is worth what I charge and more. Write something that feels true and also a little bit of a stretch, because that's where growth lives. And the third one, and this is the one I'm going to hold you to. I don't know. I'm not going to show up at your thing and hey. I would encourage you to change need to get to. I get to instead of I need to. This is the one I'm going to hold you to. Just take one action. Take one action this week. Not someday, but this week. Raise a fee, open a savings account, schedule a financial conversation that you've been avoiding, even if it's with yourself. Start a retirement account, review your expenses, whatever it is, make it specific. Not think about raising my prices, not look into savings. Do a specific action with a deadline of next Friday. If you want to drop your one action in the chat, say it out loud to yourself too. That kind of makes it real. Invest. Okay, good, good, good. Yes. Take one action this week. Raise a fee, open a savings account, schedule a financial conversation you've been avoiding, start a retirement account, review your expenses. Whatever it is, just make it specific. Don't write down, think about raising my prices. Don't write down, look into savings. It needs to be a specific action, right? Is that the question you wanted, Luke? Perfect. All right. Good job, you guys. Good job. If you want to take a picture of these questions, the action is really what is going to facilitate change. If you just came here to quote unquote learn and not take action, that's great. But the action is what's going to really make a difference in your life. So I'll close with this one thing. I want to leave you with this. Healing isn't physical. It's not just physical. Our relationship with money affects every area of our lives. And when we heal our money mindset, we create the capacity to serve, give, and live at a higher level. I love to live at a higher level, right? Being compensated fairly isn't taking from the people you serve. It's literally what allows you to continue serving them. You became healers because you believed people deserve better. And I'm asking you to extend that same belief to yourselves. I want to thank you so much for your time and your openness today. You can scan that little thing right there and get my information. My email is on this slide. If anything today sparked a question, or if you'd like to continue the conversation, please reach out. I would love to connect with you. And thank you so much, Kathy, for allowing me to come and chat with your practitioners. It was a pleasure.
Wonderful. Thank you for, again, your time and your expertise. This was fantastic. Thank you so much.
You're very welcome.
Thank you. This is brilliant. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Anybody have any questions?
Thank you.
Bring up anything for anybody? I know it brought up some stuff for me. I took notes on the side, even though I was teaching it, right? I never stop learning, right?
Absolutely.
Judy.
Yeah, so I thought this was great. I do, my focus isn't people with money, but with what I do, a lot of them come and there are money things that are in their way, right?
Yeah.
And it was just so in line with the things that I have seen, and I really appreciate your putting together like this because I thought it was really good.
Thank you so much. Thank you. I appreciate you too, Judy. We need more people like you helping people change their mindset, right? Like, it would just be a better world.
Absolutely. Yeah.
All right. Kathy, anything come up for you? I love it. It was great. I know some things came up for me for sure. Like,
yeah, no, I tracked a lot. I mean, I just so you guys know, I met Judy through somewhere networking here in Phoenix, right? And she also offers like free Wine, Women, and Wealth sessions locally. So Heidi has come to some of them as well with me, with Trudi, and they're all different. And I learn something every time, right? Because as Trudi knows, my dad was a CPA, so he taught me really good foundational stuff about money. But there's so many emotional things attached with money that are not practical, right? And those are the things you're like, well, I get money, you get it, but again, there's other things that are emotionally and deep down that we don't realize, right? We have attachments to. And so every time you do one of these, it's like, oh yeah, that's where that came from.
There's that. Boom, found you, you little dude.
Awareness,
Yeah,
right? Awareness is the first step. So yeah, so thank you.
I love it. Thank you. Thank you. I hope you all have a wonderful weekend, and I appreciate you. Mwah.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.